Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're going to be carrying on our RPG MMO framework series. And if you guys remember, what we did here in the last episode is that we have now a proper joining screen. We can press play here with this character, we can create a new session, and I can go here, expand this, let's say play with this character, and then I'll wait a couple of seconds. And the really cool thing about this is that we basically have a way now to select which sessions. If multiple players create multiple sessions, we can join them. And then if I press join here, give it a couple of time, and then auto refresh with the characters and everything selected. Right, so what I would like to do here today is that mainly before we move to our next part, which is work with our, let's say, inventory system and maybe some other mechanics, I want to tidy up this login screen, or sorry, this main menu. We need to create a login screen as well. But before we do that, let's make this menu a little bit better, all right? So to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my main menu. That's good. I'm going to make sure I am playing with one client, all right? Just so it doesn't get too much. And I'm going to put this on standalone for now, just because it runs faster. Otherwise, I have to, it's a lot. Now, first of all, I want to put this new session button at the end of the screen, at the bottom, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to use blueprints. What is it? Blueprints, levels. Oh my gosh, game modes, main menu. There you go. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add this to the favorites, because every time, I'm also going to do for this one, because every time I have to be clicking on that thing and then I have to look for the whole project. So let's add this to the favorites as well. Anyway, good. Let's go back to the widget and let's figure out that problem first. Right, so the problem that we have is that, so we got the sessions and everything is hidden, which is great. What's that? Confirmation model, that's fine. This one is fine. I don't care about this one at the moment. I only care about this button. Right. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to wrap this with a canvas. All right. And now inside this canvas, I can set up this to the size that I want. And you guys probably understand what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to move the button here on the top. And since my canvas, it has this, this size, I'm going to make sure that I get my button. I'm going to align this on here. And I'm going to put 0, 0, press 0 0.5 and 0 0.5. All right. You can size the contents. And there you go. That's all we need to do. Great. Now, next thing I would like to do is the sessions. I'm going to align this on the center, 0 0.0. 0 0.5 and here as well 0 0.5. all right, now that I did this, I'm going to expand this. I'm going to expand this one here, which is great. Now in the session list, right, I'm going to replace with a scroll box. All right, and in essence, guys, if you don't know what's a scroll box, basically it's just something in Unreal Engine that allows us to add multiple, let's say you have 100 servers. This will allow us to scroll through 100 servers, all right? Now, if I compile and save, I should get error, right, which is fine. Now I'm gonna make sure this is a variable, make sure it fits, so it fits the whole size. And you go to the session list, and I am just gonna bring this one back. I'm gonna say it's just called session list. All right, do it like this. Great, nice, cool. Now, one thing that I would like to do here is that when I create my session, I would like to basically be able to set up things like how many players or maybe the server name, right? So what we could do here is that on our screen, I'm going to select my button and I'm going to wrap with a horizontal box. All right. And I'm going to add a WBP and I'm going to add, let's say, the text input, right? Actually, a horizontal box for this is a bad idea. Let's replace with a vertical box, all right? Yes, better. And let's just make sure that our button is always at the bottom here of this list. And here we're gonna have max players. And we can duplicate that, maybe. And maybe we can call this one's gonna be the max players. And this one is gonna be the server name. All right. Now I'm gonna put max players. Great. Now I'm gonna expand this list to be on a reasonable size that is not gonna affect here. I think just untick the size to content. All right. Now what I'm gonna do here is that I'm just gonna make it more or less on a size that's decent, something like this, right? Or maybe like that. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna make it like this for now. Position 0, 0, everything is 0. Now let's press play and see what's gonna happen. Now if I press play, there you go. I have here some informations. The only problem is that I can't click on this, so probably there is something to do with the Z index. So what I'm gonna do here is that on the session for the vertical, let's see, the canvas, vertical box, I'm gonna search for something called Z order. I'm gonna put, let's say, 10, all right? And maybe I can size the content for now. Now let's see if that works. So if I press play, there you go. I should be able to type some things here, all right? Now, the next thing I would like to do is to prevent this to happen, right? But I think I need to untick this in order for that to work. The problem that we have here is that our image is not great. The UI, there is some changes that we would require to do, but I feel like that's a subject for another tutorial. I would like to create another tutorial just to we go together creating, you know, amazing RPG UIs together, from, you know, talent to, you know, quest boxes and all sorts. But anyway, if I compile here now and I'm gonna select the server name, this is gonna be called server name, right? And I'm gonna remove the hint. And for the max players, right? I'm just gonna put here, let's say max players, right? And we can put, like, let's say 10. There we go. Now we need to capture that information. And the way we do it is just by doing this stuff here, right? So I'm gonna put this on the side. This is when we start the level, start the session, right? And by the way, guys, if you find, you know, a better way of handling this, just let me know in the comments. I'm always, you know, open to learn new ways of doing as well. But anyway, I'm gonna get a server and I'm gonna, you know, bind event on text change. I'm gonna put it right there. And also I am gonna get now my max players and I'm gonna do the same. This is something that I've been doing for a while, so it's just exactly the same data that we are, you know, changing here. Right. Nice. I think there's also, maybe you could use that. Yeah. All right. Let's just instead of doing this, like there's this way as well that I forgot to actually use this. I completely forgot about that. I think this is worth actually mentioning. So in Unreal Engine, there's that way where we bind the events, right? But every time we add, let's say, event on the button itself, or text in this case, we can use it, the event that we bind it. If you click it here, I can use it outside, all right? In this case, I'm gonna click it on EV text change, all right? And the same for the session player. So in that way, it doesn't have to be connected. It doesn't have to rely on anything. It's just an easy way to do this. But anyway, now I'm going to promote this to call max players, all right? Or max players server, and I'm gonna call, that's fine. And now on the next one that we need to do for the server name, same thing, edit, text change, it's gonna plug it right here. And I'm gonna promote this to a variable called server. All right, server name. Server name. Settings. I don't know. It doesn't allow me to create with the same name. Settings. So since I put a settings, I'm gonna put this one as well called settings. All right. Now I'm gonna select here, and I'm just gonna put all this information inside server settings. Server. And now I'm just gonna drag and drop this one right there. Cool. Great. Now that we have this stuff, we can comment here and say when the user change the server settings. All right. Settings. Great. Now here we need to first plug the max player settings, but here's the trick. We need to basically convert this to, let's say, string, right? And what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna call the select node, and we basically gonna do something like is empty, right? And basically, if this is not empty, if it's empty, pk, so it's gonna be like 5. Then if it's not empty, we're just gonna get this value from here, convert it to a float. All right. We could, run some pretty validations to make sure you type a text, and if the user type, let's say, a number, it can potentially break this. But what we could do here is that we could create some kind of a, let's say, yeah, let's do it. Why not? Right. What we could do here is that we can basically convert to string, and is number is numeric, right? And what does it do? Checks if the string contains only numeric characters. Right. So what we could do here is that we can create a branch that if this is false, then we are gonna get our, let's say, this max player text, right? I'm gonna put it here. And we're gonna call the API, let's say, display validation message. And we're gonna put it right there. Okay, and the message is gonna be only numbers. All right. And what we're gonna do here is that instead of setting the value here, we set it right there, which is good. And I'm just gonna do it something just to make it simple to work. Something like that. I'm gonna compile and save this stuff, press play, and there you go. So now if the user decides to do some weird stuff, let me double check on, oh, sorry guys, I did on the wrong one. This check should happen here, right? Let me just double check here. I'm gonna paste it here. Delete it. The server name is gonna be right here. And this now it's gonna be right there. Great. I just did that tiny mistake. I was using the wrong, let's say, input. Now if I compile and save this, I should have, if I start to type only numbers, so if I type 12, and now that will work. Nice. All right, guys. Yeah. So now we have our, let's say, max players that we want to play. Now I want to set the server name, right? So I did some research here, and I found this guy saying that we have to set up, let's say, the server name and my server name as the array. All right. So to do that's easy. I'm not sure why they do like this, but it must have some explanation why they didn't put that server name as an option. But anyway, Now I'm just gonna give it some space and it's gonna expand this a little bit. And I'm gonna just put it right here just so we have more space to work. Nice. Now I'm gonna make an array, all right? And here is a structure. So according to this, we need to make a literal session property string. That's what we're trying to do here, all right? So let's see here. So make a literal session string. There we go. Now, following here, we do need to put server name and make sure you put the capital, so server name. The next one, my server name. My server name will be basically the server name that we typed it here, all right? So I'm going to compile and save that. I'm going to give a default value for my server. So, I copy players server settings. Server name settings, is that the word? Yeah, that's the right one. Nice. I'm going to just go my server, right? I'm going to compile and save that, and great. Cool. Now we should have everything that we need in theory to, look for the server. So let's play with 2 and let's see if this is going to work. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to start, let's say, Mario test, and I want to play with, let's say, 10 friends or whatever, and press a new session. All right, now I have all that stuff done. Now if I come here, I have my server name and the player settings and all that stuff. And now once that finished load up, we have a desktop name still showing up the wrong name. So let's fix that. I think it's because we need to look for this key, but the way we can do that is when we load this data, which is the the network list, we set the name here, right? And there we go. We get a server name. I mean, let's break this stuff, right? Let's get, let's say, we have the server name Astra settings. There we go. I think it comes from the settings. So get a string, and we need the server name. And then what you are gonna do, if it's found, you're gonna use the found name, right? And then this way we don't need it. But if it's not found, we're just gonna say, I don't know, like join or something, join. Join. And I think that should be everything that we need here. So if I press play now, we should be able to quickly create a test, smart test. I'm gonna put 2, 3 players, whatever. And now if I go back here and press play, I should be able now to look. So it's running. We do need to create, like, let's say maybe a loading screen. And the loading screen, I'm just going to do it very quickly. So we just, we added something simple, right? And now, guys, look at this. We have our server name right here, which means that thing, it's working, right? Now it's loading, and we have happy days. So in there, as you guys can see, we could use that to create your server name. You can, whatever you decide to do, right? Okay. Now that this is working, which is great. Also, you could use this as a parameter to, let's say, pass more things. Let's say that when you press play, you want to load a different map, right? So you can pass here, basically use this create session array as a way of passing custom names, all right? Right. So now that we have this stuff properly set up, the next thing and the last one I would like to do for this screen is to add a loading session, all right? And the loading session, let's see if on that tutorial that we found it. Sorry, the tutorial on the UI, there is like some something that we can use. I know there's like an icon, but we have replay. All right. So this is cool because we can create a spinner, right? And let's do that. So to create a spinner, very simple, very nice to do is we're gonna go back to our textures, icons, and we're gonna bring the spinner right here. Nice. Nice. Now I'm gonna call this m-replay. Doesn't really matter the name. And what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna add an image, right? And that image is gonna be, let's say, fill. I'm gonna add this one right here. Maybe that's too much. All right. And we're gonna wrap this with, let's say, a border. That border is gonna be, let's say, like that. We can maybe change that, not the image, sorry, the border itself, something like that. And I can maybe wrap this with a vertical box. All right. And for now, I'm gonna add just a text, a very simple layout here. All right. Make sure the text is on the center. Call loading, right? And we can change our font, let's say to Roboto, sorry, to this one that we have. And now what we can do is that we can go back where we have the menu. I'm going to right click and I'm going to create here a new widget. All right. Widget blueprint. And this widget blueprint is going to be a user, right? And I'm going to call WBP, let's say spinner or loader. Doesn't matter. We can always refactor that name. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy this, go back and press paste. Great. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fit to the screen size, sorry, to the desired. And now I'm going to call this spinner. All right. Sorry, or loader. Doesn't matter. A name that makes sense. Now we have a thing called rotation, render, or transform, right? We have transform. We have the slot. We have the paddings. And I'm pretty sure that we have maybe that's a problem. We don't have like but anyway, what we can do here, can we rotate this? Actually, I'm gonna wrap the whole border with a canvas. All right, there we go. And this canvas is gonna be, you know, tiny, not something big, just small. I'm gonna center everything here in the middle, 0.5, 0.5, and in the alignment we have size, I think is in the transform. But anyway, now that we have this thing set up, we're gonna go back to our graph. We're gonna, sorry, not on the graph. We're gonna go back here. We're gonna hit animations. All right. And on the animations, I'm gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna call this rotate. All right. I'm gonna click on the loader, and I think I can maybe add the loader, and I can play with maybe transform, and as a transform I can play with the rotation. So I'm gonna start here. Let me add a keyframe. Where do we add? Oh yeah, we add the keyframe here, right? And when we, let's say, are on 50, we do add, let's say, 50, or sorry, 180. And when we are in 1 second, we are gonna add 360. All right. So now let's press play and see what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be like doing that forever. All right. So we don't need that border. We can just replace with child. Sorry, the canvas. We may not need the canvas. we can just replace with whatever we had here before. And I can press play and the animation, it just loads. Right. Now to play the animation, guys, super simple. On the event start, we're gonna play animation, not dialogue, sorry. Play animation. And when you're playing the animation, you're just gonna play the rotate. And I think you have something called start number of loops, right? So if you put 0, it will loop forever. So we want 0. Great. Nice. Now I'm gonna delete from here. And when we start our session, right? When this started, I'm gonna go back to our graph. And I am gonna go, instead of saying loading, I'm gonna create a widget from class, right? And so that's gonna be loading. Let me double check. And then on success, we finished loading everything. And I think, yeah. So we're gonna get the player controller. We're gonna find a session, and then if the session, oh yeah, sorry, that's the wrong place. And let me just do a Control Z here. Nice. So it's here. When you say running, we're gonna create a widget. That widget's gonna be the loader, or sorry, spinner. And we are gonna go back here. We're gonna find the session list, and we're gonna add, add child. Plug it right here. Plug this one right there. Great. Now let's see what's gonna happen. So if I press play, I should be able to have the spinner. It's not great at the moment, but we can always refactor that. Now, for now, I'm gonna leave it like this, but we're gonna have now a problem because once this finish loading, it doesn't clear that, right? I think that in order to clear that, what you could do here is that, because we need to set the item that we added to the center. So I think what we can do is that set, how's it called? Set horizontal alignment. All right. Center, and we can make. No. I would have to do something very maybe complex. So for this one, I'm just gonna give up with the idea of having the spinner just to keep things faster for now. I'm just gonna leave the loading, all right? Otherwise, we will end up spending too much time on this widget, and it's not really the goal of the lesson. So I'm just gonna delete this for now. And then you guys can do whatever the widget you want to come up with. All right. Now, when that happens, last thing we need to do is that on success, right? Successful. I'm going to copy that. And I'm just going to hit the clear children. And I'm going to plug this one right there. I'm going to plug this guy right here. And for now, I think we're sorted. So we're going to press play. Let's say test server. And let's say 4 players. Good. And on here, when I press play, I say loading, right? And what that's gonna happen is that once that it's finishing loading, we should be able to clear that, which it did. And now I can play, join, and now I have all my characters together. All right, nice guys. So that's the goal of the lesson. That's what I wanted to do. And of course, there's a lot of stuff we could improve on this widget, but I think so far we have a nice workflow. Our plan for the next lesson is to start to work with our very simple, inventory system. I'm not going to do something too complicated. I'm just going to do something where the player gets, let's say, an item on the floor, and then he saves on his inventory. And then after, we can use that logic to send that data to the server. All right. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I see you in the next one.